Well, automakers accelerating out of the pits today with GM, Ford, and Stellantis all posting their best day of the year after the White House said it would delay tariffs on North American-built autos for 1 month. Joining us now is Mark Fields, former Ford CEO and a CNBC contributor. He's currently a senior advisor at TPG Capital and a board member at Hertz. Mark, always good to see you. How bad would it be if these tariffs go into effect a month from now?
Well, it would be really bad, and it depends on the automaker. When you look at the 25% tariffs, it's not only, John, on finished vehicles that are assembled in Canada and Mexico that get imported to the U.S., but it's the components. And what we've seen over the years, over the decades, is this tightly woven supply chain between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. And some automakers are really exposed. For example, Stellantis gets about 25% of their sales volume in the U.S. from vehicles made in Mexico or Canada. GM's a little lower, about 22%, and Ford's the least at 15%. But it's not only going to be hard on the automakers, it's going to be really hard on the supply base because they're still reeling from COVID, the semiconductor shortage, and just their overall finances are much weaker in some cases than the automakers.
Now, what about the theory of these tariffs? Let's say things work out in the sense that the parts, the whole supply chain moves inside the U.S., the cost of the vehicle goes higher, you have fewer jobs in Canada and Mexico, and arguably fewer people in Canada and Mexico who can afford to buy those vehicles. Is that, and in the U.S. for that matter, is that a good outcome?
Well, prices are going to go up, and that's never a good outcome, right? When you look at affordability right now, the average vehicle is about $47,000, $48,000, the average selling price. That's down a bit from last year, but it's still out of reach of a lot of folks. I think right now, John, listen, if you're in the C-suite or you're in the board in one of the automakers right now, and the news you got today, you know, I would think the discussion with the Trump administration was first, we'll delay it a month, but you got to give me a bone. You got to make some announcements on your moving some production, whether it's vehicle production or component production, into the U.S. and whether it's out of Canada, Mexico, or China. You're also thinking, as an automaker, I think Trump's long game here is to accelerate the renegotiation of the USMCA agreement. And, you know, that has local content rules right now. 75% of the content of a vehicle must come from North America. And I think Trump regrets in his first administration, he should have set that higher for U.S. content. And so if you're an automaker, you're like, well, you know, that could level the playing field. Yes, everybody's cost is going to go up, but everybody's cost is going to go up. So you won't have, you know, some competitors that say are importing from Korea or Japan who are going to face higher tariffs according to the Trump administration anyway. And you're just gaming out right now. If that's the case, you know, what can be transferred over time, whether it's vehicle assembly or component?